This is a review on the Spyderco Spyderfly. I got this knife on loan from a fellow Arena member and Jersey Devil member, Silent J, so I want to thank him for giving me the opportunity to review this knife. It's a very unique design. Spyderco is known for doing designs that are less than traditional and a little bit unorthodox, especially their balisongs, and the Spyderfly is definitely no exception. As you can see, they went with a very unique look. They went with their trademark Spidey hole in the end of the handles. I remember when this knife first came out, and I was kind of off and on about the looks. I do like how they went for a unique styling, but at the same time it is a little bit awkward in my opinion. It kind of reminded me of a pair of scissors in some way. So I actually never ended up committing to buying one, just because I was a little bit I wasn't sure about the looks, and I wasn't really sure how it would perform. But I am glad I was able to handle it, because it surprised me in some areas, and in some areas that in a good way, in some areas in a negative way. So I'll start off with the latch. It is a spring latch, but as some of you may know, Spyderco spring latches do not lock in the open position. They only lock in the closed position, and that's just due to some Colorado laws where the Spyderco factory is located. But it does function pretty well. Holds the knife closed extremely well. Never really had a problem with it. I didn't carry it a whole lot, but I didn't have any issues when I did. The fact that it doesn't lock open doesn't really make a big difference to me. It would be kind of nice for fixed blade work, but the knife is heavy enough where you can still do a couple fixed blade tricks. The knife is cast steel handle, so it doesn't really have spacers. Rather, the knife comes together here and it has it's pretty much just a solid piece at the end. Going on to the pocket clip, they went with the Spyderco trademark wire pocket clip. This clip is the same one on the Spyderfly. The only thing is, I've found with the wire clip, it's not as secure as a standard pocket clip. It is kind of nice and low profile, looks pretty sleek, and it doesn't really intrude with the overall design, but I found that it is less secure. When I used to own a Spyderfly, and I found that actually fell out of my pocket a little bit easier, because this pocket clip doesn't have a lot of surface area, and I also found, I have a Dragonfly too, and I hit it has the same exact clip, and I kind of hit a corner. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it bent pretty easily. I bent it back, so it wasn't a big deal, but that's just my experience with the wire clip. It looks nice, but I think functionally it's a little bit lacking. Now the handles, as I said before, are cast steel, and it's nice because it is a channel balisong. The only thing is, though, it's hard to get cast work to be done very cleanly. Even with the Benchmade 42, which is cast titanium, it's known to have some pitting issues and just some inconsistent quality control issues with the handles, even though the Benchmade is definitely light years ahead in terms of fit, finish, and quality in this particular Spyderco model. First off, as you can see, the grooves here are a little bit uneven. You can see the actual cast line back here and back here. You can just tell right away it's uneven. The cups for the tang pins are just a little bit off. Now, none of this affects the functioning of the knife or the flipping of the knife, but it is nonetheless just a little bit below what you're used to seeing from Spyderco. Usually I'm used to really high-end stuff from Spyderco, so this knife was a bit of a shock in terms of how it was put together. Also, you could see that I don't really know why they reversed the pivot screws here. It just kind of looks like a lack of attention to detail to me. The Spyderfly I had was constructed a lot better than this. It was pretty much just top-notch quality. So from a quality standpoint, I'd say it's not quite up to par with most of Spyderco stuff. I do like how they went with the larger tang pins, kind of like on the Spyderfly, than with these jumbo tang pins. Gives it a nice beefy look. Spaces out the handles a little bit more, which is pretty nice. The blade, I don't really know what you'd call this blade. It's just kind of unique to Spyderco. I like the look of it. It fits the overall appearance of the Spyderfly very well. Now, would I say that this is a good EDC blade? Definitely not. It's pretty much as useless as this Spyderfly blade. This is just not good blade geometry for daily use. It is VG10 though, which is a good quality steel, so that's a plus. As far as how it flips and performs, it's actually surprisingly a decent flipper. I thought it wouldn't be very good, but it excels in certain areas, and in other areas it's a bit of a challenge. It does carry with it a lot of weight in the handles, which makes it a very good knife for rollovers and any kind of trick that needs momentum. But that being said, it also is a slower knife, so I found that you do have to give it a little bit more effort and initial push to get those rollovers. Things like index rolls, twirling, require a bit more energy to get the knife really moving. But for things like zero gravity moves, chaplain transfers, once you get the knife moving, it really just keeps on spinning. So it performed a lot better than I thought. I'd say it's probably a 6 or 7 out of 10 as a flipper. One thing though, the handles are pretty narrow. Just compared to a 42, you can tell it's lacking a little bit of real estate compared to a 42. So again, kind of like the problem with the Kimura, when you're doing things like twirls, it tends to twist in your hand a bit. So you have to have a really good grip on the handles to prevent that from happening. And it's kind of narrow. It's not very wide either, the handles. Plus, it's just kind of an awkward shape. So you have to kind of get used to that when flipping it. I have seen some people do some cool things with these holes, like when they do Around the Worlds, they use these holes. So that's kind of unique to the knife. I haven't really found any specific tricks to do with these holes, but I'm sure something could be done. The Spyderfly is currently out of production, but I think you can get them in the secondary market for around $150. And I'd say for that price, it's a pretty good buy. You know, it's a nice collector piece. It flips decent. Not much of a user, but it's unique. And I'd say for a guy into balisongs, this would be a pretty nice piece to the collection. So thanks for watching the review, and thanks again, Silent J, for loaning your Spyderfly to me. It was a lot of fun to do this review and flip it. If you guys have questions, leave comments, and thanks for watching.